All right, guys, in this installment of what I'm reading, it's Aliens versus Predator versus the Terminator. I had to look really hard for this book. I had to shop around. I had to wait. This one is hard to get on the aftermarket, likely because a lot of people have kept them and not sold them. So I found the best deal I could and had it shipped from Britain for about $50, which is the lowest I've seen this online. Anyway, is it worth it? Surprisingly, I just have a love and affinity for crossover books, and a lot of people, kind of look down on them and they're like, oh, that's garbage. That's, commercialist crap. But they do a surprisingly good job of actually tying together the worlds of Aliens, Predator, and Terminator. I'm a fan of all three franchises, basically in the reverse order of the title, only because I've consumed the most Terminator content, then Predator, then Aliens. But I do enjoy them all. I'm a fan of them all. And surprisingly, I didn't expect such a thought out backstory and connection for all three franchises. I previously read Transformers versus Terminator, and in that one, both franchises had their history and their worlds kind of retconned to work together and be tied together. But in this case, they didn't have to revamp, reboot, rewrite, retcon any kind of background story. Essentially, this story takes place after Alien Resurrection. And it features all of the prime characters from the franchises. You've got Ripley from Aliens. You've got John Connor from Terminator. Or Connors or Connor? Anyway. And of course, the Predators. There's no side characters for the Predators because most people that encounter them don't live. They don't fight the same enemy over and over again unless you count the aliens. But it's very interesting in that the Terminators, without giving too much away, they still exist in the time of Aliens. Skynet is part of human history, but has been censored by the governing body. So people aren't aware of the history of Skynet and the Terminators taking over the Earth and being overthrown by the human resistance. And so now the Terminators are still alive, but no one knows about them, and they exist secretly, hidden within society, waiting for a time when they can rise up again. So that all ties together with the feud between Aliens and Predator. And the artwork is, although a little on the kind of a little exaggerated cartoony side, it's good. Like it just means it's got more of there's a little flavor of like an Asian or a manga influence, which is the style of the artist, Mel Ruby. Inkers Christopher Ivy, writers Mark Schultz, and you can see the rest of the credits there. And overall, it does a really good job of capturing the personality and character of the characters. Now, I'm just a little over halfway through this, and I feel like I'm wondering how they're going to wrap all this up. And I don't feel like there's enough room, but there better be a resolution. I'm going to go finish it, but I'm going to tell you this. It's a surprisingly well-written, not that I expect less, but it's one of those things where sometimes writers of crossovers like this will kind of phone it in and rely on the audience's familiarity with the franchises. I feel like that the author really did a good job of knowing these universes and blending them together seamlessly without having to come up with any really contrived nonsense that you do see sometimes in these crossovers. Now, I've managed to put a little bend in my cover since I got it, but other than that, great shape. Really happy with it. Got it recently, like I said, from a comic retailer in Britain. And sometimes if you really want something, you got to go that far. I normally don't. But this is one, as I'm trying to flesh out a collection of Predator and Terminator crossovers and Alien crossovers too. And the Terminator ones, they're just few and far between, and people hang on to them, so they're just hard to find, and they're usually pricey. But I got this one, and if you look around, maybe you'll find a deal on it. I'm sure there's a great reselling market for anyone who has one and, you know, wants to get rid of it, or who wants to buy it, read it, and then maybe sell it. But either way, Aliens versus Predator versus Terminator, the Terminator. That is what I am reading right now.